First of all, you introduce yourselves.
George Harrison, Paul McCartney,
John Lepper,
Jimmy Nicol.
Hey everybody, this is DJ Gerry, and you all remember the Beatles, right? John, Paul, George, Ringo, and Jimmy? In 1964, Sessions drummer Jimmy Nicol went from relative obscurity to becoming a touring member of one of the most famous rock bands of all time. Jimmy Nicol's story is very intriguing. Today you will learn how he went from superstardom to becoming bankrupt, divorced, and then eventually deciding to fake his own death. This is the story of Jimmy Nicol, the forgotten Beatle. James George Nicol, otherwise known as Jimmy Nicol, was born in 1939. He's an English drummer and business entrepreneur. He is best known for temporarily replacing Ringo Starr and the Beatles for a series of concerts during the height of Beatlemania in 1964. The Beatles were about to embark on their 1964 world tour. Ringo Starr, the drummer, took ill. Guitarist George Harrison said, "We can't tour without Ringo. We're a band. We're one for all and all for one." But unfortunately, they didn't have any kind of cancellation clauses or insurance back in the day. And if the Beatles were going to pull out, there would be a great financial responsibility on the group and its management. And it was too much for them to bear. They just couldn't afford to cancel. So they were scrambling, looking for somebody. They went through about 3 different drummers, and somebody recommended a sessions drummer named Jimmy Nicol. That's right. This relatively unknown sessions drummer didn't have a passport or a suitcase, but that was no problem because he passed the audition. He was able to play every single Ringo Starr drum bit perfectly. And he fit in really well with the band and all of their repartee.
The reception from all the teenagers and things was great. Yeah, teenagers. Very good. Very good.
Elevating him from relative obscurity to worldwide fame and then back again in the space of only 13 days, Nicol had hoped that his association with the Beatles would greatly enhance his career. But instead, he found the spotlight moved him away from him once Starr returned to the group. A year after Jimmy Nicol completed his 13-day tenure with the Beatles as a touring band, he went through some very hard times. He got divorced. He went bankrupt. Jimmy Nicol was never able to really go above his position as a stand-in for Ringo Starr from the Beatles. And he would just sometimes take off and leave and go to tour and not tell anybody where he went. And in 1988, it was rumored that Nicol had died the year after making his first interview in 4 years after his 1984 appearance at a Beatles convention in Amsterdam. In 1995, the Beatles got together to release a lot of rare recordings, and they also did a documentary of the Beatles as told by each member. And they wanted to get in touch with Jimmy Nicol, and his son, Howard Nicol, was working as a sound engineer on that project. And Jimmy asked his son if he could lie to the Beatles and tell them that he died because he did not want to have any more association with the Beatles. So he actually faked his death. However, an article in 2005 by the Daily Mail claimed that he was still alive and living in London, refusing to do any interviews or talk about his tenure with the Beatles. It was later asserted by the same source that he had moved to Mexico in 2013 with his then wife and was living there as of 2017, despite family and friends having no contact with him. As of April 2020, Jimmy Nicol is very much alive. He's 80 years old and he's living somewhere in the world. And guess what? They're even talking about making a movie about his intriguing life story. Well, this is DJ Gerry reminding you to keep on rocking. Bye now.
If you haven't already, it'd be awesome if you'd like this video, hit the red subscribe button, and turn your bell notifications on so you don't miss out on any weekly videos.